Hello, creative people. Let me hope we are good and doing great and well. So, this is some good news that the government of Uganda happens to promise us. Okay, so Uganda's small and medium enterprises, SMEs, may be ready to smile come July 1st, 2025, because for the first time the government is looking to incentivize and directly uplift small businesses, unlike in the past, where incentives have mostly targeted strategic investors. So the government is now basically trying to target the small businesses. But before it was only incentivizing the strategic investors, the bigger dons that happen to come maybe from outside of Uganda and come to invest within Uganda. So according to the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2025, the income of a business established by a citizen after 1st July 2025 will be exempted from tax for 3 years, if possible, is passed into law. If the proposal is passed into law. So if this bill, that is the Tax Amendment Bill 2025, is passed, its proposal goes through. So it means that any business that is actually formed after 1st July 2025, it may be exempted from tax, for 3 years, as you see it here. For any business to qualify, the following conditions must be met. First, the business must be established by a citizen after July 1st, 2025. Unfortunately, this means only new businesses will qualify. Existing businesses will not qualify for the exemption. In the Income Tax Act, CAB 338, which is the current tax law that governs the taxation of income of a person doing business in Uganda, defines a citizen to mean a natural person who is a citizen of a pattern state of the East African community, that is the EAC, or a company or a body of persons incorporated under the laws of the East African community pattern state, in which at least 51% of the shares are held by a person who is a citizen of an East African community, that is the EAC partner state. This implies that in addition to businesses of Uganda citizens, businesses in Uganda set up by citizens of Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Somalia, Democratic Republic of Congo, and South Sudan will also qualify for exemption, including any business in which a citizen of any of the above states holds at least 51% shareholding. So it means that, remember, in the East African community, we are more than the countries in the East African community. We have Kenya, we have Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Somalia, Democratic Republic of Congo, and South Sudan. For any person who starts up a business in Uganda and is from any of those countries, it means he's eligible to that tax exemption. And besides that, any other company that happens to operate in Uganda and one of the shareholders that happens to have at least 51% of the shareholding is a Ugandan or from any of those countries, it means basically this company will also be exempted from tax. Secondly, to qualify for the exemption, the registered investment capital of the citizen must not exceed Uganda shillings, that is 500 million. So it means that the company assets, the company capital, so this may include maybe assets. I'm not a tax advisor, so you could consult a tax advisor. So it must not go beyond 500 million. So if your capital goes beyond 500 million, so that is Uganda shillings, it means that you don't qualify for the tax exemption. This is perhaps the most exciting condition for any prospective small business, because until recently, most income tax exemptions granted to citizens have conditions that include a requirement to invest a minimum capital requirement of at least 300,000 US dollars or 150,000 if up country, in specific locations and in specific activities such as agro-processing, manufacturing of specific items, among others. So this is a little bit tough, because the tax exemptions that actually exist now, they only give capital. They are given to those with capital requirement of 300. So let us try to calculate the difference between the 500 million Uganda shillings and the 300,000 or the 150,000. Okay, because this one, the 300,000 US dollars capital, okay, is given to a company that is in town, and for 150,000 if up country. Let us try to calculate it and see how much. So if we take it that the dollar is at least at 3,600 Uganda shillings, multiply it by 150,000. So it means that this person, to start up a company that is to get a tax exemption, it has to be basically in the village, okay, in the village, and it has to be in the village, and it has to have 150,000. That is what exists now for if you want to qualify for the tax exemption. But by July 1st, if the proposed tax act amendment goes through, you'll happen to only need 500, okay, Ugandan millions, okay, 500 Ugandan million shillings, okay, for you to start. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so if you're up country, this is the cost right now. So it means they will have taken off 40 millions. And the other thing is, because this is for up country, so for town it is 300. So it means that you need 1,080 millions. 1,080 millions. So it means that if that proposal goes through, you will also be just needing 500 millions for you to start up a business and qualify for that tax exemption. Okay, that is something good that would encourage business and others to also set up businesses. The proposed exemption applies to investments of shillings 500 millions or less, with no restrictions on the type of business or location. However, the bill does not clarify what happens if the investor increases their capital above 500 million during the 3-year exemption period. So let us go back. So this is what they were exempting. They had conditions. They have what, this is what exists right now. It is given to different sectors, or not specific sectors like agro processing, manufacturing of specific items, among others. And it has a condition that you either have to be in town. So if you're in town, your capital, minimum capital, that is a requirement, is 300,000 Ugandan shillings. And if you're in town, if you're in up country, it is 150,000 US dollars, okay? But as we proceed here, as it says that the proposed exemption applies to investments of shillings, that is 500 millions or less, with no restrictions on the type of business or location. However, the bill does not clarify what happens if an investor increases their capital above shillings, that is 500 million, during the 3-year exemption period. So they are like the Act does not specify. So if you get bigger than that amount of money in that specific period of time, so what happens? What taxes are you going to be charged, and so on and so forth? The third condition requires that neither the citizen nor their associate has previously benefited from the tax exemption. So it means that you don't have to have benefited from any tax exemption. Okay, so if you are part of that company, okay, the Income Tax Act defines the term associate to include, among others, a relative of the person, okay, except where the Commissioner General is certified that neither person acts per the directions, requests, suggestions, or wishes of the other person. Okay, associate to include, among others, a relative of the person, except where, I didn't understand this well, but I believe maybe they're like, you don't have to be relatives, okay, within the committee of that company. While this condition seems straightforward, given our African family setting, it could complicate things for family members whose income tax exemptions may be denied simply because a sister, brother, father has already benefited, okay, from the exemption, providing that they are not associates for the tax purposes, may be difficult depending on the circumstances. So it means that if you are a brother to someone and this someone benefited from the tax exemption, so it means that for you, you are not qualified to benefit from that tax exemption. On the other hand, it implies that one cannot benefit from the exemption more than once. However, does this apply to different businesses registered by a citizen at the same time where the aggregate investment capital is below that 500 million Uganda shillings? To avoid complications with the taxman, would it be advisable to register a single business but operate these different businesses as branches? So that is a question. The fourth and the last condition for a citizen to qualify for the exemption is that the citizen should file tax returns, including a business information return in the format prescribed by the Commissioner General currently. The Uganda Revenue Authority has not yet issued or prescribed the business information return form. Okay, so you're hearing that. So you have to be filing your tax returns with URA as it describes. So it means that you have to be filing and with approval of right filing from the URA. So those are some of the documents that you have to present for you to like qualify. Whereas the requirement to file tax returns sounds like a given. Tax compliance has long been a hurdle for many small businesses. Many are informal and unregistered, do not keep proper records, such as issuing invoices, obtaining invoices to support revenue and or expenses claimed, and do not file tax returns. In short, an SME cannot operate under the ladder and hope to benefit from the proposed exemption. That is a little bit actual, because most of the small businesses, they do not even know how to file tax tax forms. They do not usually, they even at times dodge taxes. That is the actual truth. So this means that also URA has a bigger task ahead of them to see that they also try to educate and make the small business owners understand the value of paying tax. But this also goes back to, like, besides me paying tax, because if I'm paying tax, okay, if I'm paying tax, but the tax I'm paying is not also accounted for, I don't see anything going on. That also makes me do not love paying tax. Okay, so as these people also collect their tax, okay, they should also put it in mind that we are watching whatever that is actually going on. So if I pay my taxes and at the end of the day I see parliamentarians just like giving themselves 100 millions, and there are over 100 people for nothing, and I see some other money also going freely for nothing, so it means they are starving me and I'm earning nothing out of my tax. Okay, so this also goes to the government of Uganda and also goes to the people concerned, that is URA, and because Ugandans pay tax, but we need value for our tax. Then the second, as we continue, consideration could be given to extending the 3-year exemption period to 5 years, as many small businesses are typically loss-making in their early years. That is the truth. Additionally, increasing the investment threshold from 500 million could expand the scope of the exemption. That is good. So meaning that this could be there could be a consideration of increasing the tax exemption if you are operating the best way. Okay, but it is more of like a suggestion, I believe, because most of the small business owners are informal. They are like guessing what they are doing. So it is more of try and error. They are also learning as they work. You get it, eh? So they are more of making losses than making profits. Okay. Yeah, also the exemption alone may have little impact if other aspects of the general operating environment that increases the cost of doing business, such as high cost of accessing capital, high occupancy, that is rent costs, and poor infrastructure are not tackled. Not forgetting mismanagement and poor governance hurdles that often befall small businesses. Okay, so this article was written by Sophie Kayemba. Is a senior tax manager at PwC Uganda. Okay, so and it is an article from Monitor. Okay, that is Monitor Uganda. So you could check out Monitor Empower Uganda. Okay, we come to you. We are always looking for ways to improve our stories. Let us know what you liked and what we can improve. Okay, so that is it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of my channel. Subscribe. On this channel we happen to share a lot of stuff. Okay, a lot of stuff that you need to understand. Okay, as a creative person, as someone who is looking at improving your business life and making more money. And I happen to share moments as I shoot weddings, I shoot functions, and copyright stuff with musicians. So if you're a musician and you're out there, you have music and you don't know what to do, so consider subscribing. Okay, and contacting me for help at earliest fee. Okay, we shall be handling that. Thank you for watching.